thank you for joining me once again on Autism Live Chat Show. We've just been speaking to Stephanie about borderline personality disorder. Normally I only do one show on a Monday, but I thought we best doing a quick update with Jeremy, just to see how Bethany is going on. Because last time I heard from Jeremy, he was telling me that Bethany's been having therapeutic sessions, stroking guinea pigs, and really enjoying life once again. So, Jeremy, what's been happening?
Yeah, I would love to be sitting here telling you that it was more of the same. However, there's been a dramatic U-turn. Sadly, on Saturday, Beth had quite a big meltdown, and as part of Beth's meltdown, she attacked two members of staff. The reaction from St Andrews has been to once again place Beth into seclusion. I'm incredibly saddened by this. All the way through the discussions that I had with St Andrews, and it was all about working at a pace that was suitable to transition Bethany out of the seclusion cell. The plan originally was to have Beth meet the staff while she was still in the seclusion cell, for those staff to receive full in-depth training on Beth's PDA and on Beth herself as a person. Beth was made aware that the staff would be working with her, but Beth made the assumption that she would move out of the cell on the 22nd, which was last Monday.
Jeremy, just sorry to stop you there. Could you just put this your screen down a little bit, your camera, because we can. That's brilliant, perfect. Sorry. So can you just go back a little bit back about that, Jeremy, what actually happened with Bethany? Because I'm just quite shocked hearing this, what you're just saying, because I just thought everything was okay, everything was fine.
I have been trying to put a very positive spin on a series of incidents. The plan was to transition Beth very slowly out of the seclusion cell, for Beth to meet the staff that she would be working with, so that Beth could learn to trust those staff, for the staff to be fully trained in Beth as a person and Beth's PDA. Beth was made aware of those plans, and Beth's assumption was that instead of meeting the staff on the 22nd, that actually she would move out on the 22nd, which was last Monday. I begged everybody involved in Beth's care to work with Beth and to tell her exactly what was going to happen, that she would not be moving out on the 22nd, that it was just the beginning of the process. They didn't do that. No attempt was made to tell Beth exactly what was happening. I had to go along with what then happened, which was Beth met some staff in the extra care room, and Beth said, "I've moved in, I'm not going back to the cell." Nobody stepped in and put it right. The first few days was the honeymoon period. Beth was working with staff, and the staff, some of them were trained. And as I've reported, I saw excellent work and I heard excellent things. I heard great interventions. I heard that Beth's wobbles were being spotted. Sadly, because the pace of the move had been so accelerated, not every member of staff was trained. And sadly, this weekend, when Beth has had this massive meltdown and has sadly hurt people, this is the result of that lack of training. They did not know how to spot the wobbles. They were telling me that Beth kicked off without any warning at all. No, that's not what happened. Beth had become obsessed with a plan to have a guinea pig in her room with her. Beth, when she becomes obsessed, she focuses on that want, that desire, and anybody who then says that that's not happening, they become, unfortunately, the barrier to Beth having the control that she's seeking, as in having something as simple as a guinea pig.
So this, Jeremy, is quite a huge U-turn for now, because you know
It's
what you've gone through. You've been on BBC Breakfast twice. It's been in the media. It's been in the press, and now you just dragged right back to square one again.
we're further back. We're further back than where we were. The seclusion situation that Beth is in now, she's not in the cell. She is secluded in the extra care suite. That suite is just 2 rooms and a bathroom instead of 1 room. There isn't a hatch in any of the 2 doors, so Contact the weekend was shouting to each other through the door. I've tried to phone Beth, her mum has tried to phone Beth, and her nan has tried to phone Beth. We have all had to give up because you can't use a mobile phone from one side of the door to another. That in itself has left Beth very upset. Other parts that have gone wrong is, yes, Beth did hurt people, 2 people. That then left Beth without any staff. So Beth is secluded, not because she hasn't calmed down, because she has, but she's secluded because there are no staff. Is that right? I know it's not. The lack of a hatch means that when it comes to feeding Beth, staff occupy Beth at one door while they open the other door and slide the food into the room. Beth isn't some caged tiger. You don't throw food in that way to a child.
I know when we were speaking just yesterday, the other day, to Norman Lammy, who was saying to me on my show, he was saying that, you know, if people are in these units, people with autism, PDA, if they get treated like animals, they're going to start acting like animals. And, you know, I think this is what, you know, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong here, Jeremy, but I don't know, I just can't understand why the concept, why this is happening and why they still doing it, and now you're back to square one. It's just awful. It's just really is. You must be so angry. I'm angry just listening to this now.
I am incredibly angry, but I'm also really worried. What is this doing to Beth? At one point we are saying to Beth, here is your core team of staff that are trained to support you. And the first time Beth does what Bethany does when she's anxious, they withdraw and leave her secluded.
I'll just read this message to you, Jeremy. We just had a message coming on Periscope, quite an interesting message. It says, "Hi Jeremy, Noel here, whistleblower at St Andrews Healthcare. You're describing segregation."
Segregation? Seclusion. You're locked away. It's isolation, segregation. You call it what you want. It is depriving somebody of any form of contact or liberty because you don't have the trained staff to facilitate what that person needs.
Yeah, lots of reaction coming in, Jeremy. We've got lots of messages on social media. We've got Cassandra saying that, why are you not allowed in, Jeremy? You should be allowed in the unit. Why aren't you not allowed in?
The staff have been prevented from even talking to me. Her carers are not allowed to speak to me. I have tried this evening to find out what Bethany's situation is. The tiny garbled message I managed to get from Beth when we tried to speak earlier was, there are no staff in the corridor outside my room. She's on her own. Sorry, Kev.
Yes, Jeremy, I can see you're really upset, and and obviously this is through the anger, the frustration of the system. You know, my heart goes out to you. I just can't believe all what you've gone through just over these last few weeks. You've gone through so much. You've been on national TV twice, and now it's just like a huge kick in the teeth. It's just so wrong.
Even when things started to go wrong, I still tried to put the positive spin on what was happening. I tried to put the positive spin on what I was seeing the staff doing. And like I say, and I will always say, there are brilliant staff there. But if they're not trained, how is this good for Bethany? They must be trained. This accelerated release into extra care should not have taken place until everybody was prepared. How much more damage has this done?
So let me get this right now so I understand it. So the staff at the unit, are they trained? Have they got no training at all on PDA or?
The professionals meeting that I attended, that I wrote about, expertise was brought into the process. That expertise has been training staff. It's not a fast process. You have to be able to get all of the staff together at the same time. That's not readily achievable. It takes time to roll out a training program to over 25 people. This is why it was supposed to have been a slow, planned transition.
So tonight, all your communication's been stopped. So you cannot communicate with your daughter, or?
I can't communicate with my daughter because you cannot talk through a door that's shut and has no holes in it. But I cannot talk to staff to find out an update
And
as to how Bethany is, how her mood is, whether she is going to be released from seclusion when the right number of staff are available. I don't know when that's going to be or if it's going to take place.
And how are meals and drinks being served to her?
As I said, they distract her at one of the doors and then open the other door and slide the food in. This actually took place when Mum was having her contact on Sunday. And Beth laughed and said, or rather shouted to Mum, "What do they think I'm going to do? Run at them?" Yeah, Beth only ever goes to hurt somebody when she is in the middle of a very, very big meltdown. She doesn't fly at people unprovoked. It's cruel, it's unnecessary, it's demeaning. It's shocking.
We just had a message coming on Periscope from Noelger66. She said, "Much more is concerning. I'm unable to discuss as I have a court case in November." So just reading some of the messages coming through on social media, quite a lot of messages coming through. So what would you like to happen now, Jeremy? Obviously, you know, you've been on BBC Breakfast, National News twice now. What do you want to happen now?
I want Matt Hancock, Anne Longfield and Harriet Harman to now do what they have said they are going to do, and to investigate and to stop this. St Andrews cannot continue to torture my daughter and the family in this way.
So have you got a meeting arranged with Matt Hancock? Because I know last time, I think you said a few weeks back, you were planning and arranging a meeting with Matt Hancock.
His diary secretary has been in touch over the weekend, and we are attempting to put together dates. I understand Matt is visiting the Birmingham area in the near future, and we're looking to hopefully align something with that. I would like to get Matt Hancock to St Andrews to actually see the conditions that are being forced on not just my daughter. I would love to talk to Matt Hancock about this inside one of these seclusion cells, to see what Bethany has had to put up with for 22 months and he's now having to continue to put up with again.
So we just saw it on the news today on the budget. I don't know if you saw the budget earlier, that hundreds of millions of pounds are being ploughed into mental health. So what would you say to that, Jeremy? All this money is being ploughed into mental health now.
Obviously, it's a positive. I will put my hands up. I've been very, very busy trying to get to the bottom of the Beth situation. I've only had time to glance at the figures very quickly. I apologise for that. But this needs a massive amount of money. And this goes back to what Paula has been saying about her son Oliver. If you do not train nursing professionals, this is what happens. This is the result. Massive, massive failures. Money is not the absolute solution. It is about the realisation of what needs to be done.
And just over the last 2 days, I've been in contact with Gillian Mead. You probably spoke to Gillian, and Gillian, her daughter Lee, has had dramatic weight loss. She went in the spring and had lots of dramatic weight loss, lost lots of weight, and she has no communication whatsoever with the staff at this placement where Lee's at. She has no communication. When she goes to see Lee, she cannot see her in her room. She's taken to a separate room to have that communication. There's no talks. And one of the most upsetting stories, I'm hearing your story today. It's really upsetting. And another story I heard today was a lady who's actually watching this now, Kerry Duck, her son Christopher. She sent me a video of him playing the keyboard and singing along to Elton John, a young lad with autism and, full of life, full of zest. And all of a sudden, in a room, heavily sedated with drugs and maybe antipsychotics, I don't know what medication, but completely a different person.
And I fear for Beth. Just talking to her, what little words we could manage earlier, the bubbly, chatty child that I said I had got back last week has gone. It's withdrawn again.
So do you think she's been...
What's this doing to Beth?
Do you think she's been heavily sedated or heavily drugged?
I have no evidence of that. I couldn't answer either way. I'm not aware of St Andrews heavily sedating her before, and there would be no need. Beth has an explosive meltdown. It is not a constant state that she is in. So, no.
So Jeremy, do you have access to her care plans and her medication, what medication she's on and what care plans? Do you get to see them?
St Andrews, up until I began the Twitter campaign, St Andrews would send me a weekly update from the health nursing side. It covered her medication. It covered everything to do with her health and her care. St Andrews stopped sending that to me weeks ago when I started the Twitter campaign.
So,
no reason given.
Jeremy, what do you think is going to happen now?
I don't know. They won't talk to me. Tomorrow I will be getting hold of the multidisciplinary team because they will talk to me. I'm assured that it is just the carers that are prohibited from talking to me. That I will find out more tomorrow.
We've just had a message through from Alison. She says that an urgent CETR is required.
There is a CTR booked for Monday, the 5th of November. I am very much looking forward to that.
And just explain to the people watching this now, what is a CETR? CETR
is the Care, Education and Treatment Review. in Beth's case, it's more a CTR because she has so little education that's a tiny part of it. But that is the point at which a panel look at what is happening regarding Beth's care. It will look at whether what is being done to her is indeed a suitable course of treatment. I do not know how St Andrews will even attempt to justify what is happening at the moment, because that's what they will have to do. They will have to justify their actions.
So I've actually recently, I don't know if you've seen it, but I've recently set up a parliamentary petition to petition the government to stop detaining people in these units, because I'm just hearing so many of these stories. It's coming quite common now where so many people with autism, PDA, ADHD, mental health are being put in seclusion, being isolated, being, what I would say, treated like animals, just being treated like animals. We're in the 21st century. This needs to stop. It really does. It needs to stop. I just can't believe, and you probably are the same, Jeremy, that you just can't believe why there isn't the appropriate training there, why the right care needs not there. Surely it doesn't take rocket science to sort this out.
No. My daughter was diagnosed with autism with traits of PDA by St Andrews 18 months ago. They have put nothing in place in that time to deal with her traits of PDA. They don't have any expertise in it. This is despite the unit she is in being the ultimate experts at St Andrews in the autistic spectrum.
We've got some,
or that's their claim.
Yeah, we've got some more messages coming in on Periscope, on Twitter. We've got Jeremy and family should be involved in Bethany's care planning. Another message saying Jeremy and family should be involved every day of Bethany's care planning. Lots of people have coming in on social media, on Facebook, on YouTube and Twitter and Periscope, saying they just can't believe that they're hearing your story again tonight after what you've been through. And
I can't believe I'm sitting here having to say what has happened. I'm not 100% surprised because of the pace at which it happened. And I warned them. I warned them before they allowed Beth to move out. I was ignored. So when people say you should be involved in Bethany's care, believe me, I am trying. There's a big difference between a parent's views being sought for a CTR or being sought for a care plan and those parental views actually being actioned.
Got another message on screen now on Facebook from Alison Fisher. She says there should be training urgently to fulfil their duty of care and deliver the 13,000 placement that they are being paid for.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it is not for the want of the organisation delivering the training. Let me stress that. They want the training. They are as annoyed with this situation as I am. This is not down to lack of people being able to train. This is just people just letting go of the reins and letting things happen too quickly.
We've got Vicky. She's also saying so sorry. Perhaps BBC Breakfast need to run an update too. Another message from Tracy. She says, I've worried since day one that Bethany was being set up to fail. The process was all happening too fast. Jeremy, it will get better, she says. Small steps are needed.
Yeah. If you look back over my tweets, you will see that this all needed to happen at the right pace. This was absolutely avoidable. I should imagine Breakfast will be providing me with a blooming car parking space all of my own outside the front door if this keeps up.
So just tell us a little bit about the story. What happened the other day? It was ran in was it the Sunday Mail with Ian Burrell? What did he say in his story?
It's just a massive expose of all the people in similar situations to Beth, and some absolutely horrific stories. The ones that you've talked about with Kerry's son, with the story with Lee, and of other children that well, I say children. Is it 19 years somebody has spent in an ATU?
Yeah, I did read one story of a young girl who was very, very well educated. She left university and she was in there, and it wasn't nice at all.
No. How many more of these stories need to hit the papers and hit the television before something actually happens? Is it going to take somebody else dying? What's going to stop this?
Jeremy, thank you for coming on tonight. I not only normally do one show on a Monday, but I just knew I needed to get an update from you. I'm really sad that it's not positive news and that it's disappointing and it's gone to a back step. It's complete U-turn from where you were a few days ago after you appearing on BBC Breakfast twice, being in the national papers, all the exposure on social media, and now it's just back to square
like one. I say, I've tried to put such a positive spin on what has happened, but it's now beyond me being able to make any part of it positive. Because when I heard Beth today, there's nothing positive to say, really.
Jeremy, I'm so sorry. I can see that you're really upset there, and it's just absolutely awful. I really, really hope that the national news, the media, and press are actually watching this. If not, people do share this interview which I've just done with Jeremy, because it's just so wrong on so many levels. Jeremy has tried to remain positive and he's been upbeat on social media. I've seen his messages, his Twitter feed. He's been really upbeat and positive, and now it's just such an almighty crash. Jeremy, thanks for being on the show. I'm really sorry, and we just have to keep on fighting and keep pushing for change. I
will not stop. I will never stop.
And we just hope when this petition's up that this petition goes viral and that people sign the petition and share the petition, because we need a debate in Parliament. We need a big debate in Parliament, not just MPs, ministers listening. Hopefully I'll be speaking to a minister soon as well on my show, and I'll be bringing the various, not individual cases up, because there's so many of them to bring up. I've just been absolutely inundated, the amount of people who've contacted me who are in the same situation. I
cannot believe the numbers who have spoken to me, and the numbers of those that are gagged and prevented from talking out. Is what you are hearing about is the tip of the iceberg. The tip of the iceberg.
And that's which some of the parents have come to me, where they've one parent in particular who's come to me recently, and she's gone to the media, and she's been featured this week on radio and on TV, and probably these people will get gagging orders served on them. Jeremy, just a question here for you: what would happen if one of these parents, one parent come to me today and they were really frightened of going publicly with this? What would happen if they got a gagging order served on them? What do they need to do? Obviously come to you first, but what do they need to do?
The first thing I say is, you've said it once, come to me, talk to MenCap. Their expertise from their legal team was brilliant with me. But what I would say is, there is so much evidence on my story, on my Twitter feed, of the positives that came out of talking out. It's not right at the moment, but the things that happened, so the pen that was stuck in Bethany's arm for 6 weeks, that was removed in 2 days. The lack of investigation into her seizures, that happened inside of a week. When you are able to prove that talking on social media about your child, your loved one's situation is a positive and does lead to positive actions as a result, then that is a mighty, mighty case for you to actually be able to say a gagging order is not beneficial. The gagging order is harmful.
I just can't believe that she had a pen stuck in her arm for 6 weeks. I just can't get my head around that, and that it was in there for 6 weeks and nothing was done. Surely that's neglect.
They were claiming that if Beth went into a meltdown when she was in the hospital having it removed, that it would be dangerous for Beth and for other people. They said that Beth would need sedating, that Beth might need a general anaesthetic to have that pen removed. Within 2 days of me, first of all, going on Radio 4 and then joining in the same day on Twitter, within 2 days, they walked into Beth's room, cell, explained to Beth what they wanted to do. Beth went, oh yeah, we'll do that then. They gave her a local anaesthetic and they popped it out in seconds. That's the power of Twitter. That's the power of going to the media. And that's what I mean when I say it's a benefit and not a negative.
So what's going to happen tomorrow? What's your plans tomorrow contacting the unit? What will you be doing first thing in the morning?
I will be talking to Transforming Care, first of all, the commissioners involved in that. They need to bring the weight down on St Andrews. I will then speak to the clinicians at St Andrews and find out exactly what the plan is. If there is a plan to remove Beth from this secluded state again.
Yeah, no. Just the other day when I spoke to Norman Lamb, he did say to me, I don't know if you've read it yet, Jeremy, it was the Green Paper 2015. And
yes.
In the Green Paper 2015, Transforming Lives, Transforming Care, Norman was saying on my show the other week that this still hasn't been actioned.
No. It's gone backwards, hasn't it? The whole claim to have shut down so many wards and to have cut the numbers down, that's not happening. For every person that leaves an ATU, there is another person waiting to fill that bed.
And I think the United Kingdom need to lead by example. They need to lead by example with Canada. Norman was saying on my show that in Canada they don't have any units.
They don't have ATUs, no.
Everybody is in society where it should be.
Yeah. The one thing that I have picked up on the budget, and correct me if I'm wrong, but is the intent to place a mental health assessment unit into A&E departments.
Yes, I haven't read it. I haven't read it in full, but I did read something about there's going to be more mental health teams in A&Es across the UK. Yes,
and mental health ambulances as well. And I think those are very positive steps. We've been in the situation ourselves in the past that when Beth has had a crisis and police have been called, their first port of call quite often is to take the child to an ATU or to have them sectioned under the police's section 136. And straight away you're into almost the doorway of an ATU, whereas having this move into an A&E department at least gives an opportunity for some real intervention to happen at that.
I'll just read some more messages which have just come in. Annie says, it's a hard fight. My 11-year-old is currently not in school and we're off to tribunal. We'll fight for my boy all the way, just like yourself. Cassandra says, you would think the UK would...
Can I just stop there, Kev?
Sorry,
Kev?
Yeah, sorry, go on.
If Annie looks at, again, my Twitter feed, there is a wonderful document on there where a school tribunal has actually fallen down on the side of the parent. So there is a really good example on there of what can be done in those tribunals.
Yeah, Cassandra says, thanks for that, Jeremy. Cassandra says you would think the UK would be the beacons of best practice.
You would, you really would. If you look at what we can do to sell, we've just had the Paralympics, for example, that absolutely are the shining beacon for what physically disabled people can do. We need to be celebrating that with people with learning difficulties, with people with autism. We need, as you say, to lead the way on this. We can do it.
Who's your MP, Jeremy?
Preet Gill. She's been very supportive. Lots of letters going backwards and forwards to St Andrews.
Okay, so somebody's just asked that, so thanks for clarifying that.
Yeah.
So yeah, lots of messages. Somebody's just said that 70% of PDA children are not in school. Why aren't they?
Lack of recognition, lack of understanding, lack of training.
So if people are just watching this now or just tuning in, please do watch it on replay. Do share it on social media. Don't forget when the petition's live regarding the parliamentary petition. Please do sign that and share that. It's really important. And I am just so sorry, Jeremy, that you're still going through this. I just thought, when I saw you sat on the couch on breakfast on Saturday, I just thought, brilliant. It's all great. You were upbeat about it. Everything was going perfectly well, and now it's just taken a huge U-turn.
Yes, yeah. I have to keep fighting, and I have to believe that it will change. I have to.
Jeremy, thank you for joining me, and thank you for updating me. And
thanks, Kevin.
Keep in touch. Do let me know what's going on, and
I will do.
Keep putting the pressure on. Keep fighting. Never ever give up. Never.
I'm not going to. I'm not going to.
Jeremy, thank you. Thanks.
Cheers.